FM News Talk 97.1. On-demand audio.
You need to check out biggovernment.com for all of the developments about the story that everyone's talking about, the UMKC UMSL union video stories. And the whistleblower in all of this, to the shock of all of the Soros minions out there, the whistleblower in all of this was a student. And you want to have a conversation about academic freedom? Let's talk about the academic freedom in the classroom to be able to openly dissent without fear of criticism or retaliation from your classmates and or your professors. Now, we've watched over 30 hours of footage of this at the Bigs, and I know that this footage has been sent out to a lot of people. There's video up at biggovernment.com, but what we're going to do right now about my next guest, this is the whistleblower behind all of this. He's a student, and his name is Phil Christofanelli, and he decided at one point that apparently he had enough of what he was hearing in his class, and Phil joins us on the phone right now. Phil, good afternoon, and thanks for what you do.
Hi, Dana. Thank you.
Well, okay, so all of this started. When exactly did your class start? You took a labor studies a class that was simultaneously broadcast at University of Missouri Kansas City and University of Missouri St. Louis. And when did this class start?
Late January. And so you had your professor, Don Gilgum, and then Judy Ansell was up at UMKC. And essentially they were talking about industrial sabotage, all the stuff that's on the video. Gilgum was relating stories of how he would and his friends would follow around CEOs and management and try to get across intimidation. What did you feel like? What made you decide, first of all, to get these videos and to push them out to people? Well, it was a number of things. I'd say that there were three major problems with this class, and I'd be happy to provide specific examples. The first was much of the material that was covered was not academic. It was propaganda. It was not peer-reviewed research, but it was like political nonsense. Two, they devoted a large portion of this publicly subsidized class time to activities which were explicitly political, such as training people to fight right to work and recruiting for the Communist Party. And three, as you mentioned before, they were teaching techniques to gain a stronger bargaining position, practices which are very illegal and definitely unethical. So it was a combination of those three things that led me to take the tapes and show them to a number of my friends. That kind of went viral from there. Now, granted, I didn't edit any tapes. I just gave out the whole ones to my friends, and they've been since edited, and you've seen the debate back and forth about the edits from Insert Individual. Right.
I'm going to ask you another question. I'm also going to ask if you would want to hold over until our next segment as well, so we can talk just a little bit about some of the aftermath from all of this. Is that something that you can do?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you, too, really quick before we go to break. Did you ever bring up your concerns with your instructors before distributing the videos? And if you did, what was the result of that?
You know, I never questioned the way that they decided to run their class. What my first thing was to get the videos and show them to some of my friends to see if I was just reading into things or if actual really inappropriate things were going on in this class. And it turns out that the media broke the story before I really decided what was the best way to move forward. So that's kind of how that happened.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with more talking with Phil Christofanelli, the whistleblower in the UMKC UMSL video story.
I believe in the violent overthrow of a bourgeoisie, and that freedom is found at the barrel of a gun, like Mao said and Marx said.
True militancy means high levels of participation and willingness to undertake creative and in-your-face tactics.
This is just one of the many hours of video footage that's being put up at biggovernment.com. in this whole story that's now blowing up nationally about the UMKC UMSL Union videos. Second hour of the Dana Show, 866-455-9797, 971talk.com/Dana. This story, it began with a whistleblower who got some video of some of the things that were being said in his class, sent it out to a bunch of people, and progressives freaked out. And because they went up on the Breitbart sites, of course, they immediately said Andrew Breitbart has some sort of magical video editing equipment, which if it's out there, please show me where I can purchase stock, because it's just magical that you can get people into scenes and you can manipulate them so that they say things that they can try to deny later. There's absolutely nothing that has been put out there that's out of context. And joining me on the phone right now, we were talking to him before we went to break, is the whistleblower in the case. He has a fantastic piece up at biggovernment.com detailing exactly his firsthand experiences in all of this. Phil Christofanelli is the student, and he took the labor studies course at UMSL, and all of the stuff that you've been hearing us talk about this story has come from the videos that he sent out to his friends, which ultimately went viral, and they made their way over to the big sites. Phil, good afternoon to you. Thanks for staying with us.
No problem.
So I had asked you before we went to break whether or not you had said anything to your instructors, you said anything to your professors before you distributed the videos, and you said that you hadn't. Did you feel that you could talk freely in the class, or did you feel like, no one was really going to care what you said? You're sort of like the token, you're just like the token dissenter in class. Like, what were your feelings being in that class?
Well, frequently they would just call upon me at random to defend whatever conservative position they had a problem with that day, and they'd set me up with really ridiculous leading questions that I would have to try to answer. Definitely made no effort of their own to present another side of the story. They kind of just relied on me to do that.
Right. When you what sort of like assignments and stuff were you given? Did you try to do a good job and get a good grade? Because I know that you needed the course credits to go towards your degree.
I did the assignments to the best of my ability. The questions were at times kind of leading, but I'm going to get the grades that I need to get, so I did the best that I could.
Right. And you had to know too. Well, what sort of reaction did you think would happen after you put the videos out, after you released the videos and you sent them out to, your friends, and just to try to get, you said you wanted to see whether or not you were being too sensitive, or whether, your reaction was right.
I gave the whole classes to a few of my friends, and I didn't expect it to really blow up from there. It was when Insurgent Visuals released their videos that I really saw that it had become a huge issue. So that's when I knew that it just became a lot bigger than me having a problem with what was going on in class.
Right. And you said that the assignments that you got, you said the assignments for the class, this is in your big government piece, were bizarre to say the least. And while I was expecting tests and quizzes about facts such as labor history and law, our entire grade was based upon our completion of opinion papers about very political issues. And that was one of the things that you were sort of struggling with, because did you find that you were disagreeing with, was it ideology that they were teaching? Were they just teaching sort of labor history? Because from what I've seen from myself, and you've sat through, I've only seen 30 some odd hours of video footage. You've sat through all of the courses, all of the lectures. Is it pretty consistent? And is the videos that have been online, even the ones that are excerpted for time, is it pretty consistent with what was being taught throughout the class?
Well, it's 31 hours, so it's really hard for me to generalize about what was being taught in the class. There was some labor history, and there was some, legitimate material that was brought in, but large portions of it were very politicized, were very one-sided and biased, and there were also considerable portions that were teaching very questionable behaviors.
Right.
So that would be the statement I would make about the class as a whole.
Right. And the videos, after you saw some of the excerpts that were posted on Big Government, Obviously, you can't post the whole 30-some-odd hour video footage in one little YouTube embed, but the excerpts that you did see, did they just totally just make it sound as though it was way more sensational than it was, or did it accurately reflect what you were being taught in class?
I think it captured the essence of what was being taught in the class, as much as you can do that in a 10-minute video of 31 hours of footage. But obviously, when you cut something down that much,
right.
It's hard to get a real idea.
Right, and there's a lot of it there. Were you how did you think UMSL would react? They released a statement and this was before you came out and dropped the bomb that you did with your firsthand account that's up at biggovernment.com right now. How did you think that UMSL would react? Did you expect them to do anything? Has anything that they've done, has it surprised you?
I've been shocked. I was under the impression that they were reasonable people, and once that they looked at these videos in their entirety, they would come to the I did that classes were taught in a highly inappropriate, unprofessional manner. But apparently, their statement now is that they have no problem with what went on in this class.
Wow, that's unbelievable, because especially some of the stories that you hear. Your last class that you were in, this sort of made some local news. Adam Sharp is a citizen reporter. He's a videographer, and he's been doing this for a long time. And he went up to the class, and I've seen the video that he has. He went up to UMSL because he wanted to get a quote from your professor, Don Gilgum. And from the video that I saw, his video, he was standing out in the hall and he asked Gilgum a question. And then there was an altercation where, by the reports because Sharp was arrested for trespassing charges. I don't know how you can trespass on a public university. It's like a whole other story. Gilgum was arrested because he swung at Sharp several times and broke his camera. And the video that I saw, he never entered the classroom, as some of the Soros bloggers have been trying to fabricate. He never went into the classroom. He stood out in fact, when he was swung at, he apparently put his hands up. You were there. What did you see?
Yeah, I think we should clear that. Professor Gilgum followed our guest speaker out of the classroom as the guest speaker was leaving, and at that point he became engaged in a conversation with Adam Sharp in the hallway, and I could hear Adam asking him questions like, do you think it's appropriate that you said this? Do you think it's appropriate that you said that? And then I see like a hand fly at Adam. I saw the camera equipment go knocking around the hallway, and then Adam yelled, he's hitting me. And then Professor walked into the class, slammed the door, yelled, get the hell out of here, and then came to the class and said, I did it now. I hit him. Adam Sharp's here from the Tea Party. They got it on tape, and I'm done for now.
And that's what Gilgum had said.
And then I took off.
Wow, and then that's when you left the classroom. There's been
much would occur after that point, believe it or not.
Right. There's been some of the Soros sites have said that they've talked to some of it. They said anonymous students. They've never given anybody's names. No one has come out on record like you have. And they fabricated the story where that said that they called Sharp Jared Loeffner. They said he barged into the classroom and started an altercation with the professor and all of this. What's your response to that?
I mean, that's just a downright lie. They all know for a fact that Adam Sharp never entered the classroom. It was Gilgum who left the classroom with the guest speaker when he started talking to Adam Sharp. And I mean, to say that busted in and tried to start an altercation in the middle of the class is just simply untrue. And let me put my name on the record for that being the case.
Right. Well, Phil, we appreciate you doing this, you speaking up, because we know it's tough when you're a student and you feel as though, you see some of the stuff going on in your classroom and you're like, how is this allowed to happen? We're supposed to be taught, not indoctrinated. And I know that, you've taken a lot of heat for this, and we appreciate you standing up for the truth. Phil Christofanelli, his post is up at biggovernment.com. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks.
All right, take care.